Evening, and welcome back to the Plastic Crack podcast. It's myself, Ken, from Miniature Wargaming Warriors. Got Dom from Boots on the Table. We've got Steve from Point
Evening.
HQ, and we have Martin joining us, Seventh Son.
Hello.
Welcome to the stream. And shall we kick it off? Do you want to go first, Dom?
Shall we start with the usual thing of can anybody hear us?
Yeah, can everyone hear us? Can
Everybody hear us? That would be great. Yeah. Well, I can see we've got the stream is live. Testing. Here we go. Oh, bloody Paul Richardson's already started. He's sitting in the kitchen, sitting in the garden in the sun. Bastard. We're sitting here in the roasting hot. Never mind. Right.
You're warm,
Peter Little's drinking his beer. Good for him. Well done, mate. So welcome. Yeah, so we're honoured by another celebrity guest.
We certainly are, mate.
Son, Martin, which is great. Welcome to the stream and the madness.
Oh, thank you very much.
He follows it and he still came on. I can't believe the fools that do this. Steve did it as well.
God.
Right, for goodness sake, what are you doing?
You're off your head, you're nuts.
Oh, Leslie says we can hear. That's
Good.
So, for those of you who haven't seen Martin's channel before, do you want to give us a quick 30 seconds on what you tend to feature, what you do, and what it's all about?
Yeah. It's a general channel which was originally I started because I couldn't find the videos that I wanted to find on YouTube, and then after setting it up, I started finding everyone else's videos, which I couldn't find to start with. But yeah, it's wargaming and painting, but I try to focus on either less well-known games or ones that don't get as much exposure on YouTube, like things like Black Powder and Ateus and Arthur or things like that. So, I just try to do little tutorials or show ways that I paint things, just because that was what I was looking for. And then originally it started because I was looking for people who were using contrast paints on historicals right when the contrast paints came out.
Yeah.
And I couldn't find it.
Yeah.
So I bought some, and then I used them to knock out some Wars of the Roses horsemen. So I suppose that's my main stuff at the moment. Is I'm doing a big Wars of the Roses project, and then I couple that with Black Powder and some other bits and bobs. Though I do play all sorts. So
yeah, it's interesting about the.
And I noticed you're specialising in games of your wife beating you recently.
I wondered if that was going to come up. Yeah.
This is done.
Only 10 minutes in and already started it. It's not even that 3 minutes in.
Yeah. She
subscriber grabbing.
Well, the idea it's when she did it because she was fed up of me moping about not having a game during lockdown, and I think I was complaining, and I think I kind of put forward the idea of maybe you could have a game, and she eventually took pity on me and then kicked the snot out of me.
You're
the first one.
You're a very lucky man. You're a very lucky man. My missus said,
there's no amount of
bribery in it.
Bribery that I could offer that would get her to play any form of game with me.
Haley's quite good. She does like games. She plays. She'll do board games and RPGs as well. But equally, it's half a chance she'll just turn around and tell me to piss off. So
You're still on for a winner.
It did take lockdown and her not being able to leave the house for her to actually have a game before of a miniature war game before. But that's why we did.
And quite a lot of alcohol, as it seems like, as well. Usually.
No, the alcohol's been introduced since she started winning, in a hope that that'll sort of mess up. Because the game,
plan.
That was my plan. So yeah, we had a game of Dead Man's Hand at the weekend, which I thought might go more my way. It was one apiece, but I think I think that was more by luck that I won one of the rounds. So we've got a few more. So yeah, you should have to see how she does. She's probably watching this in the other room as well. She'll
come and photo bomb into it.
Yeah. Maybe, yeah.
What did you say about me?
Well, I'm sitting out the fridge, so if she wants anything, she'll be right. She'll be right around.
Brilliant. So, how did you? What's your sort of gaming history? Where did you start out?
I started in '94. I remember my friend bought White Dwarf to school, and it was I can remember it was a cover. It was a yellow cover that was all on fire, with a bunch of blood angels getting out of a tank, and that was second edition. So I started with 40k, back when you just had the Marines with the simple bolter pose and the cool looking orcs, which I've still got somewhere. And then that slowly developed into fantasy, and I was pretty much an ardent Games Workshop player because I didn't know about a lot of games. I knew there was historical gaming, but I didn't know how to get into it when I was sort of 12 and 13 years old. I couldn't really find anything about it because you didn't have the like YouTube, and the internet was in its severe infancy. So I just carried on with lots of Games Workshop games, and then I went to university. I came back, and I got back into collecting Big Bretonian Army. My mate had just started doing it, and he was getting to orcs. And one day I just went into another shop and I saw some War Machine models, and I wanted to paint something different, completely different. So I bought some of them, and then it just developed from there. Malifaux, Bolt Action, Flames of War. I mean, all those there. That's my rule book pile of shame behind me there. That's and it just went from there really. And now I just play all sorts, and I don't really play any Games Workshop stuff now. I play a bit of Kill Team occasionally with my friends, but now I just that seems to have gone. I like historicals and things like that. So
yeah. I've been watching you do a lot of medievals. Was one of the things I saw you doing, which not many people feature.
yeah.
I know Nick is on here occasionally.
His channel's wicked. The videos he does are awesome. They are wicked. I've got an alert on him, so when he does come up, that'll go on straight away. Again, if that might annoy my wife. But yeah, I do medievals because I do the Wars of the Roses because I'm fascinated by it because being English, we don't have it's one of the most brutal civil wars that has ever of all time, and nothing you could write in fiction can be as brutal. I mean, Game of Thrones was based partly on the Wars of the Roses. The horrible little evil boy king that's based on Richard II. Edward IV is but the stuff that they did to each other, it was just loads and loads of blood feuds, and I think that's really fascinating to game because with quite a small collection of models, because they kept on changing sides, you can play out lots of different things. So and because the Perrys have made those awesome sets that are so customizable, and like Steve, I know he does kit bashing with the bolt action stuff. You can do really really nice stuff with those medieval sets because they're all interchangeable. So I mean, I can turn it down. Basically, I was at Salute and they were doing their deal. I think it was 3 boxes for 40 quid or something like that. So there you go. That's what happened.
And that was it. You were hooked.
Yeah, basically.
Did you go to Warfare last year to bring them by?
No, I've actually, the only convention I've ever made it to for Wargaming is Salute. That's the only one I've ever made it to.
Yeah. Oh my god, there was so much medieval stuff last year. It was crazy. There was loads of it. Loads of it. It's just
Warfare. Is that the one in Is that Reading?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, please don't cancel it. Please don't cancel it. Please don't cancel it. It's the one more game show left I'm really looking forward to, and oh man, I'll be gutted if
I think it's a 50-50 myself. I really do.
Hi Alpha 7563. Hello, buddy. He said hello. Hello, Seb. Have you got any shout outs you want to do, Dom?
We got Peter Little. He's here. He's drinking a bottle of Oakham's Tshirt ale. Apparently,
he's a git.
Paul Richardson's in the garden under the sun. Bugger.
Of course,
Leslie's here. Hi, Leslie.
You all right, Leslie?
Who else we got? And that's everyone that's in the chat so far that I'm aware of.
Cool beans.
Good. So what you been up to then, Ken, this week? My printer's going off because somebody's bloody printing something.
Great. They come in a minute.
Yeah, they will. They will.
Imogen, are you printing out? Are you printing out some stuff for Black Seas? You better be.
That would be good.
Yeah, that would be good. Literally, what I've been up to this week, bugger all. I've managed to do that video, and that's it. When it comes to painting, it's the first painting I've done for over a week because I've been so busy with work. That's the first time in ages. I haven't even been able to do any of my special project. It's not fair. Gutted.
Not the top secret, very small project.
Yeah, that no one knows about. Yeah.
That nobody knows about, even though I've told everyone about 4 times.
Yeah. So literally, I've managed to do absolutely nothing. Oh, it's Mark. Hello, Mark. Oh, sorry about Alphas. It's Mark. Yeah, I'll explain a bit more about that later. But yeah, no, literally nothing, mate. I'm trying to think. Did I actually manage to do no, nothing. I can't believe it. Can you ever believe you did that from me, Dom?
I can't, mate. I'm frankly disappointed. That's all I can say.
I needed to
And
sleep, Dom.
then you went out and bought a new set of rules. Didn't you?
Yeah, you git. Yeah, yeah. Dom kindly returned the favour to me. Yeah, he did. He kindly returned the favour to me. He been like talking about this Oathmark rulebook for the last few weeks because we're going to be playing fantasy, and yeah, as soon when you've done your video on it, I watched the whole thing twice, once after another, because I really enjoyed that video, and I was like, just sounds absolutely amazing. The lore behind it. The only thing, and this is why I think you like. This is why I think you like it. It's not too fantasy, if that makes sense.
No, it's not. It's very medieval with a little bit of magic.
Yes, it is, because I was looking for some dwarfs with gunshots, with gunpowder guns, and they haven't got any.
Oh, no.
There's no gunpowder.
Nope.
So I was like, this is why Dom likes it. But I nearly gave something away then, but that was close. But yeah, but yeah, I looked through it and I was like, to be fair, mate, the rules seem interesting. I'll go through one rule quickly that I was really interested about. You'll probably understand this as well, Martin. Do you know when you do charging in fantasy, when you've got to get the wheels right and the angles and things like that, it can be a real pain in the arse, can't it? With this, when you do your charge, it doesn't matter about the angle. You always align up at the front. So if you charge in the front arc, you just align in the front arc. So you do 5 versus 5 or whatever, however many it is. So they pivot at the end of the turn. So you don't charge in at the foot. If you charge in at that front arc, so the 90 degrees, sorry, you'll end up going to the front. If you charge in the 90-degree arc to the side, you're charging the side and the back and all that sort of jazz. So there's only 4 arcs, so they automatically wheel into position instead of you having to like try and be extra tactical. They might be in the advanced rules, but that's what I was reading, and to me that seems a lot easier because it stops fights and arguments. To say, yeah, you're in that angle.
It does make it a lot simpler.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. And to be fair, our first delve into a fantasy game, I'm not going to lie, that will probably be, these rules seem very straightforward. You already seem really clued up with them anyway.
Well, to be honest, they're so bloody easy to read. I just read them through and they seem to be quite straightforward. In fact, I was just saying about the new Wargames Illustrated magazine that's literally just came today. There's a battle report in there of Oathmark.
Oh, okay.
So, whenever. It's what's that? A human dwarf army against an elf goblin army. There you go. That'll set the purists raging, won't it? Mixture.
Sure.
But yeah. So yeah.
But yeah. So yeah, that's what you managed to make me buy, you sod. But the other thing I will say, go to Amazon. You use my affiliate link.
No, you git. Don't use my one.
I haven't got an affiliate link. Use Dom's. And it was
So
15 quid.
So which link did you use? You didn't use my bloody link, did you?
I didn't use any. No, I just went on there. I was like, I didn't even know you had one. To be fair.
Anyway, let's move on to someone sensible. Steve, how are you? Leslie wants to know how you're feeling. What have you been up to this week? I know you haven't been well.
I'm much better. I've been awful, crappy illness last week. It just hit me Tuesday morning. And I just couldn't. I had no energy. My throat felt like I had sawdust and bleh. It was just awful. It wasn't very well. But I did manage to do that kit bashing flamethrower that I made on Thursday, the video Friday. That was my sole creative output last week. But yeah, thanks Leslie for asking. But I am well on the mend.
I want to know, how big is your bits box? Because bloody hell, mate, you pull out bits of stuff out of that box, and it's like you've got a bit of old, I don't know what, dishwasher mending kit or something, and then you stick it on the back of a figure and mold it in, and it looks fantastic. And I think, how the hell do you do that?
I've got sprues. I've got on one of my shelves. It's just sprues and Warlord Games boxes full of bits and pieces. Then I've got plastic boxes from loads of different Games Workshop, Bolt Action, a whole host of things. But then I always find different bits and pieces just lying around. Like I said, the two of the parts of that flamethrower from a model helicopter. My dad gave me a bunch of bits the other week, and I ended up using those as well. So worked out quite well.
I love the fact you can just see it. You just look at that bit and go, right, that'll be that looks fine for a tank of a flamethrower or what have you. I think you must have some, I don't know, it's a very creative or very weird look on things.
A bit of A, bit of B. But no, the reason for that flamethrower is I was just on the couch reading a couple of books, and I saw a picture of a German flamethrower, which was a bit different to the ones that I'd made. And I literally dragged myself from the sofa. I thought, no, if I've seen it now, I've got to make it now. So I was at my desk for about an hour. I just needed to build something, and it went together quite quickly. And when I woke up on Friday, I felt like a million times better. So I thought I'd just do a short video about it. But that was the only thing that I made last week. So quite a slow week.
Well done for that, at least. Apparently, Leslie says your bit spots must be a bit like my garage. It's nothing like my garage because my garage is full of plastic, unmade figures and unpainted metal figures.
You got lots of
and
bits.
There's no creativity in there at all. But I've got lots of them. Yeah, it's true. That's very true. Yeah. What about you, Martin? What have you been up to this week apart from actually beating your missus in the game I saw today?
Yeah, that was a bit of a surprise, but that was because well, that was a short range shot of a shotgun, so I don't think she's going to be making that mistake again in the next game. I've just been working on my 28mm Arthurian late Roman stuff because I've got I bought the Lardy game Dux Britanniarum last year.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it was my Father's Day present from last year, and to myself, and then my daughter. Yeah. Anyway, so I've got that. So I bought the Gripping Beast plastics, and that makes up 75% of what you need. And the guy who I played Wars of the Roses against, he's going to be the Saxons, so we were going to play through that. But because I also play Saga, it'll double up for Ateus and Arthur as well.
Yeah.
I've knocked out 12 figures, so I'm just trying to get another 16 done tonight, which would then be the whole sort of force done. And then I'm on to one more command base for Wars of the Roses, and then muskets and tomahawks. That's the plan after that.
Nice. Well, the Ducks rules. I mean, how do they play? Are they a bit like Sharp? Are they card driven?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, you chuck the activation deck is. I've only ever seen Sharp practice actually on your channel. I haven't actually played it. Yeah, you chuck the so for each of your nobles, you chuck one activation card. You number them 1, 2, 3, and then you draw them out of the deck.
Yeah.
And then they activate, and they can activate units that are near them, or they can do something special, or they can draw new cards. But it's because it's got a campaign system built into it.
Yeah.
So you can you choose your bit of Britain to fight over. You can build like new watchtowers and fortifications, things like that. The Saxons have to come raiding. Then you have to earn wealth to pay your followers and to make yourself better so you can attract more followers. So the British start off with lots of levy, lots of people they've just given a spear and go and fight the Saxons. And the Saxons turn up with loads of hardened warriors. But eventually, I think what happens in sort of the course of the game, the British start getting shock cavalry to represent that kind of Arthur feel of things. And but they've done a lot. I know there's an expansion for it as well that lets you play as the Welsh and the Irish as well. So yeah, it just looked good.
Weird. I love Lardy games, but I've never played it, and I keep seeing it, and I think, oh, I should get that, and then I get distracted. I've got too many rule systems anyway, but it just always looked quite an interesting one.
I like collecting things that I can double up.
Though.
Yeah, anything I can double up for rules. So if I can use this army for Saga, Ateus, and Arthur, and for that, then that makes it more attractive to me. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, makes sense. Yeah.
What about you, Dom?
So, what have I been doing this week? Well, I've finished some more of these green buggers. That's another 20 of them done. All right. I've also started to work on some trolls, which we're just discussing. It's apparently I've done them wrong. That's fine.
Hey, you haven't done them wrong. They're yours.
But
You do them as you want.
did the spellcaster gods? I think it's called a god speaker or something.
Is this
Did
one of
him
the
as well.
extra? Is this one of the extra ones you got? Is it?
Yeah. Little guy with the. He's actually really. You probably can't see him.
No,
on there,
is that was it an
he's got
eBay purchase? Was it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Is he one of Mantic's or is
Oh.
he a different type?
Yeah, I've stuck with the Mantics. I just thought it's easier to stick to the same manufacturer. So I've got. Mate, you screwed me over, Big Style. I've got. Well, I mean, I've screwed myself over, Big Style, but because of you. So I've got a whole load of them arrived the other day. It's like I've got some chariots, I've got some wolf riders.
Oh, the chariots are really nice actually, and the wolf riders are really nice models. Yeah,
really good.
You have to get some goblins now as well to align in Oathmark.
Well, I'm going to go because we're going to play Oathmark. I've got some humans because I can repurpose some of my medievals that I've got already.
Oh yes,
I'm not used to do that.
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I finished off a few more medievals anyway. I did some more of the what's the name? Oh God, I've forgotten the name. Manufacturer, but they're Claymore ones. Really, really nice Claymore. I think they're foot soldiers of Billman. That's it. They're really, really good.
The thing is,
I finished off those. So I think I finished all them now, which is good.
The thing is, your like medievals would make a really nice Bretonian army. So you could make a Bretonian army out of those medieval figures you got, because obviously Bretonia, base like medieval sort of stuff. So it would look really nice as well if you played Warhammer. But definitely suit Oathmark 100%. You could cavalry in there and everything, couldn't you? Got a bit of everything.
Yeah, I think so. I'm kind of. I mean, like Marty was just saying, I like having figures that I can use in multiple rule systems and periods. So, I could use them as Saga, because you could use them as the crusading states in that. I've got those fighting monks within those figures, and then I think I've almost got enough now to do a small Hail Caesar game with them.
Oh, really?
Also, I could do. I must do a showcase of the army I've done so far because I'm actually surprised myself. It's sitting here beside me. Got 3 boxes full of them. So it's like, oh shit. I mean, they're not completely full, the boxes, but there's
enough there.
Certainly a good number to a good sized skirmish stroke whatever game. So, but also quite interested. The guy Andy Hobday who did that Kickstarter on the Baron Wars, he's the new one. He's also sending out the special set, a rule set that he's done for the Baron Wars period, which looks really interesting. It's sort of retinue based, so it's probably about 30-40 figures aside, all scenario based. It looks a bit like a medieval sharp, so it could be kind of fun. Could be really, really fine. So yeah, looking forward to that. Hey Lee, how you doing, mate? He's in the house. Sorry, carry on.
I was going to say, have you had a look at Warlords of Erewhon?
It's funny. I was funny enough. I was watching Tabletop CP have just put up a game today, and I was watching it while I was having my dinner. And it kind of is interesting because it's just like bolt action, isn't it? It runs on the same sort of bolt action principle, and but it uses D10s rather than D6s to hit and stuff. So it's a possibility. Yeah, it's a possibility. I don't know really. Have you played that?
No, I've got the book, and I've actually I've got an army. I used an old Warhammer Fantasy Battle Empire army.
Yeah.
And I combined them with some that company that does a lot of plastic medievals.
Perry's
Crusader stuff as well.
Perry's.
Fireforge, yeah, Fireforge. I bought knights to go with it, so it was an army that I built for. I bought was that box of knights. Everything else was a refashioned and repainted Empire army that I had when I was 19.
Yeah. Nice. There was a comment. Oh, Paul wants to know, Martin, is that an Emperor T-shirt that you're wearing?
Yes, it is. yes, it is.
Dear. So Lee from Battle Bunker blog is in the house. Hey mate, how you doing? We've got
Lee.
you mentioned Leslie and Paul. We've got the Kaiser modelling for Advantage. Hiya, how you doing, mate?
Oh.
Peter has totally cocked up painting his dragoon horses. There's dragon horses there for a minute.
You can always strip and read
them.
Strip and read them.
Blimey.
Painful, but
yeah. And Leslie said I can paint them any way I like. Quite right, I can. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, horses. I'm much better on horses, but that's all down to that's down to you, Martin. I think the horses. I'm doing all that stuff you were doing with contrast paints that got me thinking, oh, I can do that, and it works really well. So,
it's the best thing painting horses. It made it bearable.
It does, doesn't it? It does.
I hate painting horses. I did a whole mounted Swedish army for 15 mil, which seemed like a really good idea at the time, and that's what broke me. That and some Napoleonic hussars with all the lace. That did it. And then I didn't touch cavalry until those paints came out. So
Napoleonics. Ken going all twitchy.
Yeah. I love playing it. I'd love to play it, but painting the buggers, Jesus, how you have the patience.
See, I view like not the lace on hussars, but the cross belts and things like that. I think of it like when you have the trim on all the Space Marines to do.
I don't like painting Space Marines.
Trim.
Yeah,
right,
okay.
I just
on a dwarf you have I know what you mean. You get trim on a dwarf, but yeah, it's still painful.
I'm trying to find ways to cheat. I've got some of these these acrylic paint pens.
Yeah.
Which I haven't really used yet. I've used them on a just when I'm doing my flags, trying to bring out some details, but I haven't actually used them. So I'm in an iron about whether I can, if they'll be good enough if I can just paint all the entire model and then just go in and just dot in all of the stuff afterwards. But I don't know if that's just going to make things more complicated.
Yeah.
I think the easiest thing I've ever done with contrast paints has been like my ghouls from like the SPQR starter set. One of those models literally takes like 3 minutes to paint. It is so quick because it's like three or four colours, and you that's drying, so I'll do that. That's drying, okay, that's done. Head done, and it's just like so quick. Never painted anything so fast with contrast paints. I was lucky enough to
You'd be really good at doing the infamy stuff then, Ken.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, you're actually going to do it.
Well, I've got I've got 60 ghouls already painted, done. 40 spears and swords.
That's enough.
Yeah, 40 spears, 20 spears, 20 swords, and 20 archers I got, and a war chief. I'm pretty sure. So, but yeah. Contrast paints. You are.
What we're all working on tonight. See what you're up to.
Early war French infantry.
Early war French infantry. Is that the recycling of your older figures that you were doing in one of those videos?
Yeah, it's the embarrassment of that. Do you ever look back at a project and think, what the bloody hell was I doing?
Yeah.
Frequently.
My friends at the moment are in about 10 different styles in the uniform. They sort of, look as if they're in the same project, the same army. These guys, they were just awful. So no, I'm repainting them. I'm using the same paint scheme over. Repainting them isn't actually so bad, and they're getting the treatment they should have had when I bought them 4 years ago. But I love early war. Early war for me. I've never actually gamed early war, but I love the whole feel, the whole ethos of it. It's just, for me, it's one of my favorite parts of World War II. Sort of the first 2 years.
Yeah,
I think it's quite good because you don't get the dominating weaponry that you do later war, do you? So it's a bit more up close, a bit more, I don't know.
Everyone's a bit more
tactical, maybe.
Yeah, a bit more of an even playing field. Assault rifles don't come into force.
Yeah, that's true. Very true.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
cool.
that's all I'm working. I'm going to finish these 5 tonight. That's my vow.
What
So
about
I mean, you weren't actually stripping them back to start again, though, were you? You're just sort of
No,
improving.
yeah. So it's just basically half of the army was painted, half wasn't, and the ones
Yeah.
that were painted differently to each other. Some of them were absolutely
Yeah.
diabolical. So all I'm doing is just basically going back and just adding the same colours across the entire project. So they've all got a uniform colour scheme, whereas they don't at the moment. It's coming out quite well. I've only got about 20 left to do. That's the whole lot finished.
Nice.
It's about 1,300 points, I think.
Oh, nice.
I got it when Warlord used to do the. Do you remember the build an army for 75 quid?
What?
Yeah.
What? What? I missed this. What?
Hang on, the bargain hunters
It was
missed
an old-
something. Stop it.
Jesus,
It's an old
75.
promotion that Warlord did, and you could basically get an entire army. I think I paid. Yes, my whole French was £75, and I got pretty much everything that I needed in that. They haven't done it for about 2 years. They pulled it a few years back. But,
Yeah, probably just as I bloody started.
They heard you were joining, and they said, "We can't afford that.
No,
We'll
we're
probably
making
buy
mint
them
out.
all, sell them,
Yeah, we're making mint out of this geezer.
paint
That's
them
what they
all up,
thought.
and then sell them."
but yeah, that's where my friends came from. So it was normally you'd get your HQ, so many infantry options, artillery options, and then throw in a couple of like I can't remember was there anything free thrown in. But I remember just not paying any more than about 75 quid for mine, and the whole army 75 quid.
Nice. I have to. I never actually bought one of those deals, but I wish I had because they were such good deals. And I remember thinking at the time, "Oh, that's a really good deal." But I had all sorts of bits and bobs of all sorts of different things, and I was trying to be a bit restrained. That will make people laugh, but I was, and try not to start another project again. And so I regret that really. But hey, never mind. What can I say? There's a couple of things in the chat. I'll just go back to that.
Yeah, that's right. I've got one as well.
So Paul says, "Have you been watching the Infamy the movie on the Lardy's channel?" I don't know anyone. I don't know whether you guys are. I don't think any of you guys are really into that Infamy, but I'm really excited.
I'm deliberately
One and a half
looking at
episodes
it.
yet to reach.
I'll end up buying it.
You know, I watched it and I've watched them avidly. I have to say, and it's funny, isn't it? And it's been interesting to see what everyone thinks. But your views on rules and games is completely coloured by your sort of bias towards one section or another. And clearly, Rich, who does the videos, is heavily into his Romans in a big way. So he seriously favoured them in the game that he was going through, and he absolutely twonked the Germans. I mean, literally twonked them. They did nothing, virtually nothing to him. And because I'm doing a German army, I'm thinking, not sure about that. And I started to look at it and think, actually, he didn't do this and he didn't do that, and could you have done it differently? But I thought it was really interesting. The rule system seems kind of fun. It does look interesting, and I do love it. It's a really story-based rule system. Really, it's about typical Lardy rule system. I think it'll be really good. So yeah, I am still looking forward to it, and I'm planning this week to start on my German army. There you go, and not Second World War this time, proper German army.
I've got one.
Oh Jesus!
Now.
Yeah, I got one from the chat.
Oh, you visited. Oh, go on then.
Yeah,
carry on.
I got Martin. He's Alpha 7563 Martin. He's give a giveaway for my channel before. He says I use contrast on my. I think that says Ossis via the airbrush. Okay, OSSES Ossis. I think that's meant to be something else. Or am I right in pronouncing that?
Don't know.
No, neither do I. But he uses it by the airbrush. He used contrast paint by the airbrush, and he said it's horses. Horses, not osses.
So he uses it
via the airbrush. for the horses.
Now that's the ultimate laziness, isn't it? I mean, contrast paints are so easy to use, and then you're blasting them through an airbrush.
Yeah,
That's just brilliant.
they are good for an airbrush. They don't give you the same effect, but for smoothness, they're very good because they're obviously very thin as they are.
Yeah.
I have tried it, and it does come out quite nicely. It gives it a different finish to what you see with the contrast paints. But yeah, he said, "I'll let you know in a few weeks if Warfare is a go." Okay. Oh yeah, because he has a stand at
Nice.
Warfare, so he shall know in a few weeks.
So he'll hear.
He will hear.
Yeah.
So we will know. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. Mark, not. Did I say Mark or Martin?
You said Martin. That's fine.
Mine. It's
All
Mark.
begins with M. All the same.
Sorry, Mark.
Right,
there's my chat.
So Kaiser got a question. He said, question for the crew. Sometimes my Agrax dries shiny. Any ideas why and what to do about it? Go to a doctor, I'd say.
Dry shiny. You're not using the gloss. Not using the gloss one by any chance. You get a gloss version, don't you?
That's a good question. Is there a gloss version? That could be it.
I know sometimes if a brain fart and don't shake it before sometimes I'm just so anxious to use the earthshade. I don't shake it. I get all tizzy. And sometimes it's dried, and yeah, it looks really really shiny. So I've had the opposite effect though. Sometimes it's gone on, and it's looked like there's mud in it. It's a very strange thing. I think what you basically need to do is just really really shake the jar shake the tub before using it.
Definitely,
really good shake, and you could put some of those little agitator balls in them. That might help.
You could
I do that now with a lot of the contrast, just to. Yeah,
it does help because
Sorry.
No, go on. I was going to say you definitely with the contrast you get that build up of gunk crap at the bottom like on this one here. But I've got an agitator in it, so it does help. And one of those the nail polish shaker things that really helps as well with an agitator in.
Yeah, and that has the added bonus of annoying the missus, which is really good. Yeah, which is always good. So new guy here. I haven't seen you before. GP, hiya mate. He said got into you following via Martin's channel, whose recent video incidentally just influenced the wife to decide our next game is Dead Man's Hand. Yes,
good choice.
Thanks for the vids. There you go. So you've got one of your conspirators in here, Martin. Good stuff. Well done, you. Also, Medieval Warriors in the house. Hiya, mate. How you doing, Nick? You doing well? Hopefully.
You're right, Nick.
Who else have we got?
Nick.
I think that's it. Yeah, no, that's it for the moment. So good. What else? What are we up to? What we're doing at the moment, aren't we? I've forgotten already. We talked about that. What are you doing at the moment, Martin?
Just the Arcurian stuff.
We spoke about that.
Oh, you said yes. You did. You did. Sorry, I've lost my place already. Look at that.
Who did we get to? With
Hold
that?
it together, Dom.
Did we speak to all of us about that? I think we did. Well, I'm painting Bretonians. I'm painting 10 Bretonians for the for Oathmark. So that's what I'm doing. I don't think you explained what. Oh no, you said Germans. Yeah, we've done that bit, Dom.
all right, mate. We'll move on then. Shall we have? I'll tell you what. I'm going to have this as a new feature for the show. Is Peter's Corner. Peter Little. He sent in that blinding question last week, which had us all stumped about the scale of figures and how why do we worry about whether they fit when people aren't the same size? If you remember.
Has he done
so
it
he sent
again?
me another one today.
Git.
It's in. Actually, I forgot to even look this up myself, so this may still stump me completely. But so he says, "Good morning, all. Would each of the plastic crew crack? No, hang on. Plastic crack crew count? Oh my god, I can't say it. Okay, would each of you count how many different white paints you have? And if it's above 3, allowing for primer, contrast, and specific type, why do you have so many? Why do you need them? And if you're not mixing your shade of white, isn't mixing your shades of white more satisfying and give you your own personal stamp on a figure? Are we so engrossed with speed and figure bashing that we've forgotten the art of painting and don't mix them anymore? So, Steve, you're a master painter. How many whites do you use? Probably not many in the German army.
That's a scurrilous lie. There we go. 5 whites.
5 whites. Okay, there you go. I think that's proving the point. Yeah.
Dead white. White. Brilliant white. And this one's so old that it's rubbed off. I can't tell you what it is.
You sound like Dulux,
I have
mate.
a 5.
He does, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
Sounds like you're at home base.
I barely use white.
That weird. So you got all those colours and you hardly ever use them. That's brilliant.
No,
Are we counting off whites?
Either ivory.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's off-white count as well.
Yeah. Yeah. All whites, he wants to know. All different. All whites on the night. What kind of whites?
Oh Christ, that's a different kettle of fish.
I'm gonna go for 6 then. I'm gonna go for those normal 5 plus my ivory as well. That's sort of whitish.
6 whites. Okay. What about you, Martin? How many you got?
Still counting.
I can see 5 at the moment, but I'm sure there's another one that I've lost that I might have thrown out.
So we'll count 6 for you as well. Yeah. Ken probably's got about 26.
I have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7.
I think I've got 5, so that evens it out. So it's averaging 6 between us all. There you go.
Yeah.
So 6 different colours of white.
Yeah.
And his point is well made. So given the fact that it's actually even a fool like me could mix different versions of white very, very simply. Why do we have so many?
Because I want it to be uniform.
Why don't we mix them?
I want it to be uniform every time. That'd be mine. If I'm going to use a white, I don't want to mix it in a year's time and think, how the hell did I mix that? Because I know I don't write it down. And plus, I fell into the Games Workshop hype of, oh yeah, you need this white, that white, this white, do this color, that color, just to make your Space Marine look super awesome. Okay, white's white, but yeah, no, that's for me. I've got, oh for God's sake, typical. I get called out. Right, carry on without me. 2 minutes.
Oh. Okay, well, it looks like we're going to lose Ken to work. Never mind. Yeah, interesting one. I don't know. It's I mean, certainly I would say the premise that are we so engrossed with speed and figure bashing that we've forgotten the art of painting. I've never been involved in the art of painting. It's all about figure bashing and getting them out as quickly as possible for me. But you two gents, I think, take a little bit more pride and time in your figures. What do you reckon? Why don't you mix the paints more? Why do you use all the different because you can say the same about not just white, you can say the same with all the different versions of brown. I mean, I must have
I've got loads of
about 30 different browns. I mean, Jesus, they're coming out in your ears. But again, you could really easily mix it, and I think Ken's got a point about coming back to it and being able to replicate the color easily.
Yeah.
But, why don't we mix?
Yeah, I would say
for me.
Yeah, go on. Right. Yeah.
I think for me, because I predominantly paint World War II stuff and it's drab and it's a bit, dingy. I tend to find that I use dark when I'm highlighting. Because like I said last week, I'll always use sunny skin tone on green to do a highlight. If I needed something really light, I'll just use ivory. But straight white. When I did those Napoleonics, I used white then. So I think it's all about, for me, it's all about the period you're painting. I wanted my Napoleonics to look bright and pop, whereas with my bolt action World War II stuff, I want to look drab and a bit grim. So that's why I don't use straight white on those guys.
I was going to say
for about you, Martin.
Well, I think it comes down to the army or the painting project. If Napoleonics are used as the same white and I want to keep that uniformity. But if I'm doing a skirmish game where it's a proper skirmish force where every single model is different and like its own character, then I guess that's just me being lazy and I just want to pick it out the bottom. I did that. I just finished doing a Wild West Exodus force, and every one of those models has got its own color scheme. There's no uniformity between models. I just wanted to do something completely different because I've done so many Napoleonics. So I think it just comes down to for me, yeah, just what is the project? I've got Italians to do. I've done 24 already, but I've got another 100 to do from Napoleonics, and they're all white. So
And they're all white, aren't
so
they?
that's a base coat of very very light grey. Then the what's the contrast white? Apothecary white, which is kind of grey anyway. But then I dry brush that with the dry brush white, and then I use white scar on the belts. So I don't know.
Have you ever tried Off-One grey from GW for Off-White?
Yeah, I got it, and it dried up ages ago, and I think it's here. Yeah, it's here, and I never went back and bought it again. I don't know why.
You need dropper bottles. Dropper bottles.
Oh God, you got him started again. That you just
it's just as bad. It's just as bad as bloody. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I just want to bring this up quickly because I'm gonna have to shoot in a minute. But Dom is slyly putting things in his videos to wind me up. It's official. He's slyly putting things in there to wind me up. And you guys know what it is already, don't you? Don't you, Steve? You know what it is. It's the thing that we can't be. It's the things we can't be friends about.
I watched the video. First thing that jumped out at me, I was like, he based this swim bag.
Yeah. I literally sat there. I was sat on my bed, right, watching it, and then it come up, and he said, "Oh, here's my swim bag," because he didn't even mention it, and I literally went, "You bastard." And do you know what? I'm gonna say it. It actually looked alright because it was really small.
Brilliant, outstanding. Jesus.
Yeah,
to be fair, that was the funniest thing last week.
I wonder what Ken's reaction is going to be when he sees this.
Yeah, it literally was, "You bastard."
To be fair,
that was the one. All I got as a comment from him in the comment section was "you bastard," and that was it. It was like, yeah, result. It worked.
I was watching that stream, your stream last week when you were doing that. That whole thing come up, and my wife walked past just as you said that. And to be fair to you, mate, she did say, "Base in a tank. Why would you do that?" And then she just carried on walking.
Yes.
Into the other room.
Yes. Why would you do that?
I think at this rate, I'm gonna get some kind of persecution complex if this keeps up.
I've already told you we can't. I've already told you we can't be friends.
That was what he sent me as a Facebook message. He said, "We can't be friends anymore." That's it. It's all over.
The thing is, Steve,
I'm really disappointed. Nobody's gone and bombarded his face, and nobody's gone on Ken's Facebook page and put loads of pictures up. And
because they agree with me. That's why they agree. Now the thing is, I bet Steve does some really awesome bases as well. That's the thing. I bet they are really, really, really sweet. I'm just jealous, mate. I'm jealous.
I mean that. I mean the artillery piece. Yeah, I went completely over the top with that. But generally, it's sturdiness, but also just to sort of link it into the rest of the army. I was when I finally get around to doing the trucks for my SAS. They're going on massive, great big bits of cork.
Lovely job. Yeah, that was. I'm very pleased that went down so well. Evening, Duncan. I had Duncan FX in the house. We've also got Nick Games. Hi, Nick. How you doing, mate?
Secretly,
Phil
Duncan
S
Rhodes
is in the house. Welcome. Duncan Rhodes.
Yeah, secretly it's Duncan Rhodes. He's a fanboy. You see my Facebook. You see my Facebook picture on my personal one. It's me and Duncan and Liam, isn't it? Me, Duncan. Just I had to bomb him when we were at Games Day. Not Games Day. What's it bloody called? Oh God, what do Warhammer call it nowadays when they're open day or something? Or whatever that is.
Games World or whatever it is.
No, I can't remember. But we were trying the new contrast paints. Basically, he was in a bad mood then, so we guessed that he found out that he was the contrast paints might kill him off, and he was like, "Nah, screw this. I'm getting out of here beforehand." You know what I mean? He's done all right, ain't he? 100,000 subs already.
Yeah,
I saw that today.
Yeah.
I was like, damn.
Amazing, isn't it? Some of them go up like, don't they? Jeez. So yeah, that was going to be one of my questions. Actually, we sort of touched on it already. Is apparently, so I picked up from somebody else's video because I plagiarise everybody, of course. This week or the weekend was the first anniversary of contrast paints coming into the market, which
Sweet.
seems extraordinary, really. So I know, I think Steve, you don't really use them very much, do you? But I think everyone else here does.
Never use them. No.
You never use.
The thing for me, maybe this is just my massive OCD kicking in. I can't. The thought of painting over a grey or a white undercoat, it's like anathema to me. I just couldn't do it.
Do you paint over black then,
that's
Steve?
the only reason.
Do you paint over black then?
I mean, I suppose I suppose they have their place. I mean, I probably could find some use for them, but I don't know. I really don't know why I've never used them. Apart from, I don't like the idea of painting over a white undercoat or a grey undercoat.
Oh, I can paint over anything but grey now. I can't stand black. Seriously, can't stand to paint over black. Drives me insane.
Yeah, it's funny, when I used to paint, I used to use black all the time, but no, I'm solely grey now, light grey.
Yeah, it's all about the grey.
I use
but then I do use black contrast.
No, my go-to is brown. I base coat everything in burnt umber. That's my kind of standard go-to paint for base coating.
Oh, okay. It's quite interesting. Yeah, well, you do a lot of World War II though, don't you? So it makes sense.
Yeah, that's pretty much the only reason to do it. But strange thing is, but when I did those Napoleonics, I used brown on them as well.
Right.
It's what we know, isn't it?
It is, and I guess you get familiar with how the colours work on top of it and so forth. But yeah, I mean, I have used brown, and I've done. I cheated with one of my Russian armies by largely painting them all brown and then just putting a wash over the top and doing their equipment, and that was kind of bish bosh done. And it came out pretty well. Ken was talking about barbarians and stuff. I did a whole load of barbarians exactly the same way. Just got a flesh tone spray can and just did the whole lot in that, and then just put a wash on it and picked out their bit of equipment and the trousers, and that was it, done. So it is. I kind of do that, but I have to say I'm now converted to grey. But I was wondering with the whole contrast thing, and I know it was one of those things, and I very honest, I say that when I first heard about them, I thought it's a con. Well, there's no way they're going to be any good. It's just another marketing attempt by Games Workshop to get more money off us. But actually, I couldn't manage without them now. I really couldn't. I find them invaluable as part of what I do and for helping the speed of getting the figures out on the table.
Especially with your garage.
Exactly. You're right. Someday I'm going to need to actually get in there. That'd be really nice. Jeez. Actually, I've got as a complete aside, I managed to buy myself a little storage thing to go in the garden where I'm
what
moving
are they
all
like for
stuff
painting
into.
flesh?
Bloody amazing.
Brilliant. Yeah, really good.
I don't paint flesh anymore. I use Gilliman flesh, and 9 times out of 10 I'll call it done. If I really want to take a bit of detail, I may go over it with a flesh tone and just for highlighting, if I really want to, but otherwise for not. Let me see if I can find one here.
I'm copying Martin's approach.
I'm trying to find one.
So I pinched your one for doing flesh because I like that with the
what was that?
The pale. You do a pale skin tone.
Yeah, I used the GW paint. I used to just use the Gilliman flesh straight, but I thought to me it just looked a bit chalky or something like that. I don't really know the way to describe it. So what I did was I tried finding something with a bit of a warmer tone. So I used that pallid witch flesh, and then I put the Gilliman flesh over that.
Ooh, that's a really good idea.
I don't know. It just looked a little bit more like they were less dead, even though it's I don't know. It worked, and then I always tend to highlight a couple of times, but I used I've got loads of these P3 paints, the ones that the War Machine lot make, and they've got quite a lot of nice flesh tones. So I'll just if it's a helmeted figure, I don't usually bother, but if if there is, someone who's got like a, decent facial expression that I want to bring attention to, I'll chuck on some highlights on the cheeks and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I pitched that idea, and I found I had some. I don't even know where I got it from, but it's just called Pale Flesh or something. And I do exactly that. So I have my figure paints. My base color is light grey. I put quite a watery coat of that pale flesh on it, so they look like they're all undead. And then I use the Guillemins over the top of it, and it works really nicely. It does look really, really good. So I think that's a really good system. But I just think it's become, for me certainly, the whole contrast thing has become so useful just as part of it. I wouldn't say I would exclusively use contrast, but certainly
a mix is a very good idea. Yeah, mix is very handy. When I first started doing my historicals, it wasn't long after the contrast paints. Well, it was literally after a week or so after they come out, and I was doing contrast videos of all my World War II stuff, and that was just pure contrast stuff. And people still want to see that, so they still want to see all these uniforms just with the contrast paints, because I guess people just don't want it 100% accurate, but they just want a rough estimate of what to do. It was just a dumb thing.
Yeah.
I've got to admit, I jumped on the hype train with that. With the contrast paints massively.
Sub hunt.
It was because no one had done it. No one had done them, so I was like, I'm going to be the first, and I was. So I was happy. But yeah, now I do a mix. So I'll tell you what, a dry brush over contrast paints can go a long way as well. Definitely, especially for armor, like you've done, Dom. That's definitely helped, and I'll be doing that on some of these. Sorry, I'm just.
It's weird, isn't it? Because there was such. I did see a lot of videos, people really having a go about it and really sniffy about it as a paint. And I was watching a video over the weekend. I can't even remember. It was an American YouTuber who does loads of subs. And he was talking about the fact people were complaining when it came out that it was cheating. It was making it all too easy. And I was thinking, how the hell is that possible? It's that's the whole point, isn't it? You want to make them as easy as you can to make them look as nice as they can. So that whole it's like, my God, what is going on?
How could that be described as anywhere? It's not a competition. It's just
painting.
If you want to get if you want to get your things to the table quickly, this is a method of doing it. It's not no one's going to say he's used contrast paints. It's there was a certain elitism and kind of snobby kind of aspect to them when it came out.
Yeah, but you know how there are certain elements within the hobby, much as we're all lovely fighting folks here and watching these channels, but there are some very odd characters that get very worked up about these little tiny things, and you think, what the hell, get a life.
It's better than grey plastic, isn't it? Let's be honest.
I think that might have something to do with the way that they were initially marketed, though, as well. That they were kind of like, the videos I saw was kind of like, here's the cure-all for paint, and and there were, you could see the normal method and then the contrast method, and I don't know how many of those photos were the contrast method, but and then so I think, I don't know if that rubbed some people up the wrong way. I mean, I think, like, if you're using them in conjunction with methods that work for you, if you can find a use for them, and go for it. That's the thing. There's some colours in there that I don't get on with. I can't get on with the really pale blue, the really pale one. I can't remember which one that is now. I just could not ever get that to do, or I don't know if I just was using it wrong. I don't know, but it wouldn't do.
Was it the Leviathan blue, or are we talking the Space Wolves? Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's Leviathan blue. I've got Talisar blue, which I use all the time. But
it's nice and bright, that, isn't it? Nice and bright.
Yeah, and then you can always bring that down a bit later if you do some sort of washes at the end. So
I hate to admit it because I hate the Smurfs, but the ultramarine blue is actually really good. It's a nice covering. It is a nice covering for colour. And I really like the skeleton horde. In fairness, I like most of them. There's not many I don't like. I don't have much use for the orange, though. I don't get much use out of the orange. It's a bit of a weird one. And I use
It
a
has
lot.
a very, very two-tone colour when it goes on sometimes, doesn't it, that orange?
Yeah.
It's weird.
I have found that some of the oranges and the yellows, I've seen some of these models that are painted in contrast, like the lizard men have got this big old ass dinosaur with loads of scales. And if you just slap it on, like they say, slap it on one thick coat, right, it will look like crap because all the red will pull and things. If you then, after you've slapped it on, go in and then start just spreading it out so it's not pulling and it just pulls where you want it to pull, it dries and it does look really good. But that's the problem with it, is you don't want it pulling in one place, and it can just make the model turn absolutely rubbish. Yeah, you have to go in there and have a fiddle afterwards. But have you got any other questions for me? Because I am going to have to shoot. I am going to have to go down Hailing Island.
That's all right, mate. We can carry on without you. I've got a few quick. I was going to ask you about basing on vehicles, but you probably don't want to talk about that right now. So
Of course you were. Let me just check my chat just to make sure. Guys, if you're watching on my channel, head over to Dom's channel and continue watching there, because obviously I've got to go to work. So happy days. Thanks anyway, guys.
Oh, bugger. Somebody's got to keep the industry going.
Yeah, someone's
Good
got
luck, mate. Have a good
to keep the
evening.
world going, haven't they? Someone's probably no worries. Someone's probably got their internet down. They're missing our stream. That's why they called me out.
That's what it is. The emergency call out. Someone's hit that red button and gone.
Take it easy, guys.
See you
See you later.